You are listening to the Dental Business Mastery Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for your successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to this episode of the Dental Business Mastery Podcast, and this week I am reconnecting with Ben Marcos of BusiHealth. And the last time we connected, Ben, was at our wonderful, extraordinary event Wednesday last week, which was absolutely wonderful, which we'll talk about. But first of all, Ben, welcome, and tell us a little bit about what you do. You are the co-founder and general manager of BusiHealth. Tell us about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was a wonderful time, and thank you for having me on the podcast. But BusiHealth, we're essentially end-to-end property partners for the dental or human health industry. So what that means is we take clients, we are client-led, so engaged by operators to help them solve the property solution to their business growth needs. So do they want to set up a clinic? Do they want to expand a clinic? Have they outgrown their current clinic and they need to move it? We are all things property related. So we have supply demand data. We can do the site search. We do purchase or lease negotiations. We can do business cases, cash flows, help them get funding. And then we can also help them, manage a project all the way through to doors open. We don't do the build. We don't lend the money. But essentially from a venture and getting them started, we are very much an end-to-end partner. We've got projects around the country. We work nationally.
Fantastic. So your role is quite extraordinary. Partnering with you is going to mitigate a lot of risk that some people would go through when they start down this journey. And part of that is the reason why we had our event last Wednesday. I think it was last Wednesday, wasn't it? Yeah, it's about a week ago.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So what we did last Wednesday, for people who aren't aware, we had a panel of experts up there on stage. We had a room filled with people who were looking to build their own dental surgery. One of our panel members was someone who had a very sad story with lots of challenges. And Bill Stoney of Aldent has been speaking to me about some of the stories that he has come across over his time. And a few weeks ago, we had another one of those stories on this particular podcast as well. The pitfalls are enormous and painful. They're painful from a perspective of, if things don't go well, things that you can't foresee as a new practice builder or new practice owner, you can't foresee how a builder can let you down. You can't foresee natural things like, pandemics and all those sort of things. But there's been floodings, there's been room setups around the reverse way to what it should be, so having to spend money to put it back into the right spot again. And a conversation that Amin and I had a few weeks ago with somebody whose open date should have been November. And we're sitting here with April being tomorrow, and they're still not operating. However, they've been hiring people, they've been paying the loan repayments off and all the things, and so losing tens of thousands of dollars every month. What kind of stories have you come across, Ben? Because some of these stories, they would keep people awake at night and bring them to an early grave, I tell you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Julie. And ultimately, what we say to clients is, as a dentist, you'll do this once, twice, maybe 3 times in your life. It's a very expensive exercise. And to your point, when you get something wrong, it costs you a lot. We are doing this every single day. We understand property. We understand the property market. We understand a dental business. We understand cash flows. We understand patients. We understand competitors. We understand what they offer. So the ability to connect what a business needs to be successful and what the property market is telling us, the fact that we're talking to agents and developers and landlords every single day as well. We have in-house people that understand construction as well. So when we're briefing builders, it's a really great exercise around that. So there's a lot to your point. And as a dentist, you haven't been trained or taught to do this stuff. So you're taking sometimes everybody on face value and things like that. We've absolutely seen some disaster stories where they've come to us essentially after the disaster has occurred. So I had a dentist that came to us based in Melbourne. They've got a thriving clinic, and they actually ended up engaging someone else to help them find a property. They looked at a property, it looked okay, they knew they could get a clinic, they bought the property, but they didn't bother to check the council parking rates. Turns out they were in a 3-chair clinic, wanted a 5 or 6-chair clinic. The parking was only going to give them 3 chairs. So they bought this property, spent all this money. Now they just have a very expensive investment residential property. So there's stuff like that happens all the time. Sometimes they've tried to negotiate on their own with the landlord, and to your point, they don't really understand the approval process. They don't really understand what they're walking into. There's a whole heap of works that they may have been stitched up for that probably could or should have been on the landlord to get it ready. Sometimes they don't really think about plumbing and things like that. So there's so many factors. A dentist is going to be there for a long time. There's a lot of services, plumbing, electrical. There's a lot of things to make it work. Council approval is its own process. Even a building permit or getting it build ready, engaging a builder, they're all different skills. So I've seen a lot of stuff happen where builders walked off on a site because they've had issues, they've had contract problems. People have, as you said, they didn't really negotiate the rent free properly, and they, all the rent free has been wasted while they've been tied up in council. And by the time the rent free is over and you're still not out of council. So things like that, we see a lot of those sort of things happen. Sometimes people just set up in the wrong place. They didn't bother to check. They liked the site because it was on their way home from work, or they saw a for lease sign and they thought they got a really good deal. If something's super, super cheap, there's probably a really good reason why. Some people have opened up and seen a whole bunch of asbestos in there and it's cost a bomb, things like that. Yeah, there's been a whole heap of stories. And again, we have set this business up to be the bridge between the operator and the property and the physical space. And there really isn't anybody that kind of does an end-to-end offering. Again, we're data-led. We use cash flows. We have 3 finance qualified people in our business that know how to understand all that. I have construction qualified people in our business. We have a data scientist in our business. So we've got all these different skills that most dentists wouldn't have access to. They'd have to go to all these different places. And the fact that we all sit in one business and we can all talk to each other, it's a very seamless experience for the dentist. And that's what we aim to do.
It's amazing the service that you and the space that you cover. It's just absolutely extraordinary. And as someone that's owned my own dental practice in the past, I did it in the very stress-free way. I bought an ongoing concern. It had already proven itself. So I knew the location was good. It came with the client base, all the things. And so it was kind of an easier way of doing it, so I didn't realize how easy it was that I'd made it for myself until I've started going down this other path of seeing how other practices and what they go through. Certainly, if I was ever going down the path of buying another practice or building something from scratch or anything like that, there is absolutely no question about it. I would jump all over your services in a heartbeat because it is worth whatever you spend, because the potential problems and dramas, when you think of it from the time, the money, and the stress of managing it all, and who knows when we're going to open up, or who knows how much we'll end up losing in this. This is such like an insurance policy as well.
Well, absolutely. And think about time, mistakes, experiences. But not only that, we pretty much in 100% of our cases, we have saved more than we've cost, whether that's through a negotiation, whether that's through, understanding exactly what we can get. Again, just the negotiation often more than pays for our services. And again, we're doing this every single day. And for whatever reason, landlords, agents, when they know that we're on the other side of the negotiating table, we get very different outcomes because they know this is what we do every day.
And that's an interesting thing. Two great points that you'll end up, whatever you spend with BusiHealth, you'll end up saving in costs elsewhere. But also that the amount of mistakes, for example, if I decided to go out and build my own home, which I don't plan on doing, I have seen videos of people doing this with all of their training videos on YouTube. But if I did that, I would stumble across an enormous amount of challenges and make a huge amount of mistakes. And so then the second house I build, I would have learned from all of that. And the second house I build will have far fewer mistakes, fewer challenges. By the time I've built my 10th house, I'm pretty damn good at it by then. When dentists go out there and buy their own practice and build their own practices, this is the very first one that they have no idea what they don't know. They have no idea the level of risk that's at play there. But you guys have been through this. You've had all those learning journeys. You've seen the challenges, the mistakes, all the things, and the ways to get around all these areas. So the amount of knowledge and wisdom that you tap into when you employ experts like yourself is absolutely enormous.
Yeah, it is, and absolutely we are. And every state is different. Even every council is different. When you speak to good, reputable, honest builders, they'll even tell you every site is different. There are different lenses, so nothing is exactly the same. Nothing is a cookie cutter from that perspective. To your point, we've seen everything. We've seen everything from a 30 square meter space to a 2,000 square meter space, heritage buildings, apartment complexes, standalone, residential, commercial builds, shopping centres. We've seen it, we've done it, we've executed all of that. And again, we always try to make sure the property solution is tailored to the operator. So even depending on the type of dentist you are you a cosmetic high end? Are you a value family? Are you an orthodontist? What is your service offering, and how we see the property as just part of the recipe of how to make your business successful. And we always try to make sure we have the operator's business driving all the decisions. So we try to do that. And again, we've got a client right now where we found a place, we negotiated, they did a design, we did a business case, they got a budget, but halfway through they wanted to sort of change something to bring in someone that could do something different. The builder was able to pivot. We were able to update the business case and get a different loan. The fact that that could be done all in house really quickly is also really, really valuable.
It's enormously valuable because that's right. All these entities have their own kind of fractured focus away from you're trying to build one thing, one magnificently successful thing. You've got people coming in from different avenues with their own areas of expertise and their own wants and desires. I remember talking to a dentist once and they said, just look at a dental implant. If a prosthodontist places a dental implant, they'll place it somewhere where it's ideal for restoration and aesthetics, etc. If an oral surgeon places that same implant, they're going to be looking at the site slightly differently. Where is this going to be best healed? How much bone density? All the things. And then if you get a periodontist to place that implant, they're going to be thinking about the soft tissues, not the hard tissues. And so with each of those different avenues, you're going to have that implant placed slightly different each time. However, if you actually got all those three specialists in together in one room and said, okay, with all of our needs and all of our desires, where's the best place to place that implant? It's going to be optimal. And you've got all of that under the one roof, all those experts under the one roof.
Yeah, absolutely. And many times, just because you're a really good dentist doesn't make you a really good businessman off the bat or businesswoman off the bat. So there's so many other elements to creating a successful clinic other than, you being a subject matter expert in your craft. And our job is to we're terrible dentists, but we're really good at all the rest of the stuff. And if we can free these dentists up to focus on what are they offering, their people plan, their culture they want to build, how do they want to market themselves, all of that, leave all this heavy, expensive stuff that if you get it wrong will cost you a lot of money, leave it to us. We can do that. But you're absolutely right. The fact that we can think about it from a financial perspective, from a workflow and efficiency perspective, from a property perspective, from a business offering perspective, all of that is in the one house. And we did this by design because, again, we understand the reality as a dental practitioner who owns their own clinic. you're not just being a good dentist. You are being a marketer. You are being a salesperson. You are being, a problem solver. You are being HR. There's so many things that people need to bring together a successful clinic. So yeah, we've tried to really genuinely design it, and it's not been easy. It's taken us a bit to bring all these good brains in one place, but we know that's what dentists need.
It is what they need. And I know that when I bought my practice, I had very narrow tunnel vision of what I wanted to build and, in terms of a business and what my goals and my vision were. But then where it ended up 10 years later, it was a very limited vision.
Mm,
I just wanted to get in that door. I don't
yeah,
care where it is. I don't care how many rooms it has, room for growth. Who cares? I just wanted to get in there. Dentists would have a different perspective because they would think, not only that, they've likely worked in a number of different practices and really formulated maybe a longer term vision. But that's the thing about vision is it is confined by our own brains. And when we grow and develop and evolve and get bigger and bigger in terms of what we feel we can achieve and open our eyes at what can be achieved, our vision at year one, wildly different from our vision at year 10. And whatever you can do to get other people's input who are in the know, have seen the kind other people's vision rolling out, has seen dental practices in various stages of growth, that's an enormous resource as well. That, yeah, I know that this is your vision right now, but this is what else we see out there. So you may end up wanting more.
yeah, absolutely. And we have a dentist in Melbourne who, and you're absolutely right. Like generally, health professionals sometimes can be risk averse. They go, look, I'm going to go out on my own for the first time. I just want to get something. So sometimes they might even buy like a two-chair practice, right? And guess what? They're half decent dentists, and guess what? They've outgrown their two chairs 2 years into their 7-year lease. And then what happens then? Like we had a client, we sat with them and they said, look, we just want to start with two. But I said, yeah, but 5 years from now, they go, oh, we'd really love four. I said, okay, well, why don't we think about that? We actually found a space that could fit four, but we only fit out two. And we said, you start with two. The business case, was fine. It made sense. And they're now in their third year. They're about to get their fourth chair installed because chair two and chair three now is at capacity. And again, they're able to grow into it. So we get a lot of clients that have under forecasted their growth. They've outgrown their current space, and they go, well, I want to kind of expand, but I've got no room to expand. So we always try to think about growth. We always try to think about, but doing it in a responsible, sustainable way. Because again, setting up four chairs and it's just you for now doesn't feel like the smartest idea. So how do we right size the investment? And we try to make sure people understand what an ROI or return on investment look like. What does it take for you to break even? When do you think you can bring on your next associate? How many dental technicians can you have? And we map all that out in the modeling so they can see, we're speaking in their language, and they can see what that means. And they go, oh, okay, cool. I can sleep at night because I kind of know what the scenarios could look like, and I'm mentally prepared for all of them. So helping people manage the future proofing of their space is a really big part of what we do.
The future proofing. I like
It,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
that's excellent. And when if we've got listeners out there that are thinking, oh, this all sounds very good, I think I'd rather go down the journey down this path and have fewer sleepless nights and have somebody batting in my corner that knows all about this space. What kind of clients are perfect for coming to you? Are they new builds? Are they ones that have an existing practice that want to go into a larger premise and just looking for the premises? Tell me exactly who you're looking for.
Look, to be honest, we will work with everybody. We have worked with everybody. We do have a whole lot of startups that kind of have this dream of going out on their own, or in reality, sometimes as well, people have spent time searching for an existing clinic, but what they want doesn't exist, or it does exist, but it doesn't make sense financially. So a lot of the time, they've come to us and said, we've wanted to buy, we can't find what we want or what really represents us or what we want to create. Like I don't want to leave my dental clinic that I'm working in and be in a clinic that looks and feels exactly the same. Like they want some satisfaction. But we do also have people that have outgrown their space and they need to get to 4 or 5 chairs and they're on something good and they've got a good team and they really want to keep them together. And there's just an opportunity cost of billings they're just not getting. So yeah, we're very comfortable to work with any of those guys. We The biggest thing that we ask is that we work together. And again, like the fact that we are an objective representative of you, we're not incentivized to take you any which way. So if people want to purchase a property or they want to lease or they want to go with this builder or don't care which builder, we're very open and we're very Switzerland, right? So our job is to work however they want to work. So sometimes they come to us and go, I want to be in this area. We like to challenge them. I've got a dentist now, really interesting. She's thinking about 3 completely different areas. Like she's Melbourne based. She's like, I either want to work in Fremantle, WA, or in Corio in Victoria, or in, Southwest Sydney. And I'm like, okay, fine. And we've got the data
How
for all of
random.
that. Yeah, and she's like, I've worked in these areas on my journey, and they're all areas that I think could work.
Great.
So again, we're not incentivized to push anyone. Our success is seeing whatever's in their head come to life with a business plan. And again, we're very open and we work with anybody and everybody.
And so then, you can help them with the location and making sure that all the council stuff is in place, that's not going to restrict them from doing what they need to do. You can help them in terms of managing all the contractors, is that right, as well?
Correct.
And
Yep.
making sure that they are in line with getting the finance that they need.
Correct. Yeah, we're pretty much the only 2 things we don't do on getting that journey up is we don't lend them money because we're not a bank.
Yeah.
We don't do the build, but we work with all builders, any builders, their preferred builders. We have a range of really trusted builders that, like working with our clients as well. And we can do as much or as little on that journey as you like. So some people go, you know what, BusiHealth, can you just help me find the right property? I'll take it from there. No problems. Hey, BusiHealth, can you just tell me which areas need a dentist? Run through your data and give me 3 recommendations. We can do that. We do often find once they start working with us, they see that we know what we're doing and they see that it's such a seamless experience. Because again, a lot of these guys are time poor, right? They're working, they're trying to sort of make it work. They've got all this, people side and the culture side to manage as well. So they see what a time saver this is, and they see that what a seamless experience it is. And there'll be times where, you got to think about the data, you got to find a property, you're working on a business case, and guess what? You've got a different property somewhere else that looks very different. You've got to redo your numbers because you found a different property. You've got to, once the building quote comes in, you might need to redo your numbers again. So we're constantly, it's a very fluid arrangement because, again, everyone has to manage all these things at the same time. So, it works really well from that perspective. We're very happy to sort of, again, hop on and off that bus, whatever makes them comfortable.
And it is a pretty fluid process. I know, just reflecting back over my 10 years, it was fluid over 10 years of what I needed, in terms of finances and physical space and the different challenges that can come up in front of you that's got nothing to do with business. But
Yes.
these challenges do come up in front of you. And, when we want a really fantastic result in terms of dentistry, we think, oh gosh, that root canal therapy or that implant or that whatever the thing is, we want the best result we can possibly get. You do go to experts in the area. You don't try to go out there and do it in a let me give it a try kind of way. You do want to make sure that the end result is as assured as it possibly can be. Nothing is full insurance, but you want it to be as assured as it possibly can be. So going to experts in these areas is just amazing. And I honestly, it's just extraordinary to me that you do all of those very many elements to it. And trust is a huge thing because that is handing over, or your clients are handing over an enormous amount of trust and faith in you. So how long has the business been going on for? Do you have people that potential clients could contact and say, what was your journey with BusiHealth like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in our 4th year as a business. Again, we didn't believe there was an offering like this. We wanted to test if people wanted this service, and B, would they pay for it? Yes and yes. So that was cool. We definitely have got some clients, and we've got some projects that people are really happy. And again, they all say, if BusiHealth wasn't in it, I would have just been still thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for 4 years before I spoke to you. I wouldn't have known where to start. I wouldn't, any one of these little problems that turned up, I would have thrown the towel in. We've definitely got a whole bunch of clients across a few different cities that we can easily sort of, call on. We've got some testimonials out now. So it's all, it's great to see, not just walking through a physical space, but walking through a space and seeing a dentist say, I had this vision, and with you guys, I was able to get there. That is the thing that makes us so happy, to see them come to life. Because again, if someone asked me to do a root canal, I wouldn't know what to do. And I can see from their side, they're being asked to do things that they've never done before. And it's very hard to talk to, like, I can talk to one builder, I can talk to one town planner, I could talk to a bank, but how do they all connect? Everybody's saying different things. To your point, they all come with different agendas, they all have different priorities. And then we sort of layer all this and we go, okay, well, this is a trade-off, this is the choice you get to make. And the fact that we can present all this up front, we can show them what a business case looks like before they've committed to a site. And again, it's not a business case that's just high level and not executional. It's down to how many procedures are you going to do a day? What are you going to charge? What complex cases are you looking at? Are there other people in this area offering those things? Well, what's your point of difference? What happens if you hit 10 a day? What happens if you hit 5 a day? Different numbers, but you can see what those numbers look like from our side. So, yeah, it's a really great experience to see the connectedness of all of these things.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's you have connected all of these things, so it ends up making more sense because there has been a broader consideration going on for the end goal rather than just fractioning that out into segments. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, most of the corporates have sort of all these skills in one place. But as an independent, even as a multi-site type operator, there's nowhere for you to go to get all those different skills. There's nowhere where there's one place that will all talk to each other and genuinely be incentivized to make it work for you. So we want to try to create, like, my background's in corporate, right? So I'm using all of the skills that we learned in corporate land for the independents. And I feel like that's a really important thing that they wouldn't otherwise have access to.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if people are looking at having this as their journey future in developing their own practice, finding the best location, building, and then moving towards their dream and their vision, at what point do they contact you and what does that journey look like?
Yeah, very good. So we basically have three phases of an engagement. Ideally, the earlier the better, because the first phase of our offering is called project viability, which is the vision in your head viable? Does it make sense? Is it even worth discussing? So in that viability, we look at the data. So we look at where is a good spot. We look at the property market, because it's a nice thing for me to say, Richmond needs dentists, but if Richmond's, $1,000 a square meter in rent, then that's just nice info. It doesn't help you. So we look at the property market, and then we go, okay, what kind of offering is in your mind, and how do we turn that into some numbers and some cash flows? And we do that before we even start looking for a property. We kind of go and have that conversation. We might go to the bank and get a pre-approval. We might sort of take the client through it to say, okay, all of the stuff in your head around what you're dreaming does make sense, is a viable project, and is worth putting the time, effort, and energy into finding the property. Because again, we don't want to waste time looking for properties that don't work. We don't want to, spend time with a client if what's in their head is never going to happen. So we always try to make sure that first phase is around making sure it's a viable vision. And there are times where we might adjust the vision. They might go, I want to set up 6 chairs, and we go, well, did you know you're not going to break even for 2 years? Is that something that makes sense? Well, no, it doesn't. Well, maybe let's pare it back a bit. Or Sometimes they go, I just want 2 chairs. Then we go, well, actually, to go from 2 to 3 isn't that much more from an investment perspective. And they go, okay, great. Well, maybe I'll expand my vision. So we always try to, like, the project viability is never a binary yes or no. It's a, this is what you're thinking, but if you did X, Y, Z, you'd get A, B, C outcome. And that is a huge, huge value add. And sometimes people just engage us for this piece. And they go, great, you validated what's in my head. Fantastic. I'm going to have a crack myself at doing things. Um, I joke that our biggest competitor is dentists try to do this on their own. Um, and that's cool. But again, we're doing this every day. And then the next phase, so after the viability, we've got signed off, we go to what's called project security. And that secures your project. And what that means is we do a site search, we do the site negotiation, um, we then go through any council approval if needed, and we will go funding approval if needed. And that takes you from I've got my vision and I know it works to I have my property, I have all my approvals, and I know what I can borrow, and it's all signed up before I've made any real commitments for things. And that's project security. And we might work with builders in that, so they might do the council approval. Again, we're very fluid around where we want. The third phase is around project delivery. So what do they need to go from I've got my site, I've got my funding through to doors open. We work with builders however we want. Sometimes we need to be really involved, and sometimes we just need to be someone to call if they have a problem, and everything in there. And it's not just that; it's about ordering equipment. Have you got your marketing in place? All of that sort of stuff. So again, we work with partners in a lot of those spaces. And the third phase is delivery, and like I said, and that takes you through the doors open. So, ultimately, we try to keep it really simple. We have 3 phases, and we work through those phases with the client. We're not like lawyers, no disrespect to lawyers. We don't charge by time. We charge by deliverables. So all of these things are set up into milestones, and we work to deliver to the milestone. So if a project is more complex or less complex or takes longer in council or not, we've always tried to be a very transparent business where operators have a peace of mind where they're not constantly thinking, oh, how much is this costing me? It's all agreed up front and it's all only paid with milestones. So, operators have peace of mind around, I know what this is costing me. I know what that looks like. And we are motivated to move the project because, again, the faster we can deliver milestones, the faster we get paid. And that's cool with us. So, yeah, that's kind of how we work.
Beautiful. And it is, you make it sound straightforward. But I'm reading into each of those steps. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of work.
Yes, it's a fair bit. And a project can take, from go to woe, can take 6 to 9 months, right? Like, can take longer if you're building a brand new building from scratch.
And I think this is one of the attractions to your company is that because there is so many unknowns.
Correct.
And again, I'll say it again, but people out there that are about to embark on this journey, if they haven't done it before, they don't know what they don't know. No. And that's all groovy. Go down the path and learn for yourself. But some of these unknowns can cost you a lot of time, energy, money, sleep, stress, all the things. And yes, it's including more people having to trust another person and paying another bill and all the things. But from my conversations with other people in the industry, Bill Stoney being one of them, yourself, others experts on the panel that we had last Wednesday night that were answering all the audience questions, it's not a rare thing that things go wrong. It's not a rare thing that things don't go according to plan. It seems to be happening more often than not.
Yeah, correct. And the reality is, dentists want to offer more now. So their investments are bigger, their offerings are more, they're doing more higher end type procedures. So the whole game is a bigger exercise now and the risks are higher. And to your point, you've got property problems potential, you've got building problem potential, you've got council problem potential. Suddenly you've invested in all this stuff and you get a surprise with the bank, by the way, where we can't give you as much as we thought, or even if, the ability to offer some, we've often halfway through a journey, there's a new CBCT machine that's turned up and, the dentist is super excited and they want that one, not the one that they told us 3 months ago. there's a bit of an adjustment that happens. So there's a whole bunch of things like that where we can navigate through problems. We know what that looks like. And again, for whatever reason, when we're talking to other stakeholders, be it council, town planners, builders, banks, they know as well you've got someone in your corner that has done this many times over. So often we might be able to get outcomes faster. We know what the credit teams want at the bank. We put that together. They know us. When they know a BusiHealth business case has been sent, they trust it. So, when the builders know that we're involved, again, we have people that understand building, that are qualified in building in our business. You end up just getting a lot more traction that way.
And it's like leveraging off your relationships.
Basically, yeah, because
And that's got an enormous value as well.
100%. Like, there are definitely good partners out there that want to do the right thing. But if you're a dentist and you're going to do one clinic, and there's a problem could happen, and you could be a one and done type client, right? They can go off and do something else. But when they know of us in the conversation, they know that if they do the wrong thing by our clients, there won't be any more work going to them moving forward. So they also have a vested interest to keep our clients happy by the fact that we're in the conversation.
Yeah.
So there's all of that as well around that. And again, we get a lot of repeat work. We get word of mouth referrals. People come to us. We don't really do marketing, to be honest. We fill a gap. We fill a need in the ecosystem. People need what we have. So that part's been great to sort of, again, word of mouth. Dentists, builders, banks, they all go, you know what? Even a bank will come to us and go, you know what? This dentist, they're just really time poor. They're embarking on something. Could you give them a hand? And we can just come in at that stage. So yeah, definitely we have brownie points with everyone we talk to because of the fact that we're doing this every day.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So if there are people out there that are thinking about embarking on this kind of journey, or they've just started and they wanted to reach out, what is the best avenue for them?
Yeah, so they can reach us direct. We have a website. I've got my email, just ben@busihealth.com, BUSI, health, all one word, .com. We're very, very open. We're very approachable people. And the way we sort of talk is, people will ring us or email us. We'll do like a half an hour Zoom to just sort of understand what they're looking for. And then again, it's a pretty straightforward process from there. Sometimes we might go, you know what, this is what it looks like. Let's just look at the project viability, and then you can stop and you can make a decision. So again, we don't really force people to keep going. So it's a very nice methodical way or process that people can sort of get more information as they go. And then they can decide if it's right for them.
So you can kind of evolve with their needs and desires.
Absolutely. So, some people will go, you know what, I had a dream. You show me the viability. Thank you very much. I've got 2 young kids. This is not for me right now.
Can't do it. There's no way.
It's not for me right now. Others will go, you know what, I've got 2 young kids. It's the time for me to do it. I really want to do it. At least you've now shown me what this looks like. You've helped me understand what this means. So yeah, we're very open and approachable around having conversations first to go, that's what it looks like. But you're more than welcome to, or you can chat to yourself, Julie, and anyone of our partners we can talk to as well. But yeah, very open to at least understanding where they're at on their journey and what they're looking for, and then how can we help them, and where do they need our help, and where can they rely on others and stuff.
Beautiful. And all of your contact details and website are in the show notes of this episode. Perfect. As well, so people can refer to that, but certainly can reach out to us as well. We'll be certainly sending you anybody under the banner of what you help them with. We're going to be throwing them all your way because it's such a crucial, needed, valuable service. There's no way we would be doing our clients any good if we didn't send them your way. So thank you for developing BusiHealth to start off with, and thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. You guys do wonderful work. You play such a role in the industry as well. And we appreciate you guys. And thank you very much for having us. And we'd love to chat another time. No problems.
Beautiful. Fantastic. Thanks.
Thanks, Julie. Have a great one.
If you enjoyed this podcast, then I encourage you to head over to Amina and my website, dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. You will find all the information that you need if you would like to gain our assistance in helping you and your team achieve great success. If you would like to find out more, you can also email us directly at info@dentalbusinessmastery.com.au. Thanks so much for listening.